Hello everyone, my name is Laura Hadwin. Today I want to talk to you about graphic organizers and I want to share some creative classroom ideas for these. So, a graphic organizer is a visual and graphic display that depicts a relationship between facts, terms, and/or ideas. Graphic organizers are also called cognitive organizers or comparative organizers. They're also referred to as maps, concept maps, cognitive maps, semantic maps, or knowledge maps. And other terms include content webs, ideational frameworks, and concept diagrams. So there are many benefits for graphic organizers in EAL classrooms. Firstly, they maximize learning opportunities by utilizing multiple modes of presentation and expression. They can make complex information more accessible to EAL learners. They also allow learners to organize thoughts and ideas. They scaffold speaking and writing tasks. They help to support pair and teamwork. They can increase confidence, comfort level, and fluency. They're useful for multi-level classes and also for differentiated learning. Additionally, they can promote critical thinking and higher order thinking skills. So, the first graphic organizer I want to show you today is a table, matrix, or attribute chart. So the first one we'll look at is about routines. So examples of routines could be fitness, could create a food diary, study habits, or technology use. The benefits of having learners track their habits and behavior is that it can raise awareness and empower them to make changes in their lives, particularly in areas that might be negative. Once we're aware of something, then it allows us to think about ways forward. So this is the first one. Okay. Another example of an attribute chart can be to classify or categorize different nouns. For instance, here we've done animals. So an animal that is fast and cute. Second one, an animal that is big and furry. And the third one, an animal that is wild and dangerous. Okay, I'll give you a couple minutes to think about that. But this activity is really good as it promotes critical thinking, creativity, it allows learners to make comparisons, as well as do problem solving and creates discussion. Let's take a look at some possible answers on the next slide. So, an animal that is fast and cute could be a squirrel. An animal that is big and furry could be a bear. And an animal that is wild and dangerous could be a lion. Again, these are really open-ended and they're great for creating discussion in the class, and the learners really like to compare their ideas. Another table that we can use is very useful to make collocations. For instance, we could make compound nouns, for example, school, ball, or shoes. We could also create phrasal verbs using particles like up, over, or on. Or we could think about collocations for high-frequency verbs like take, have, or work. So there's some possible answers on the next slide, and today's topic is food. Give you a couple seconds to think of some noun collocations with food. All right, let's check. So, collocations with food are adequate, organic, nutritious, fast, leftover, spicy. You can do a nationality or gourmet. Again, depending on your learner's interest level and the topic you're doing, there's a lot of options for this. Some of the advantages are that it can revise existing vocabulary. It allows learners to share words with one another, and you can also work on spelling and pronunciation. Another table is useful for helping listening, whether that be from a CD or a video. So what we can do is you can create a grid with the whole alphabet, or perhaps a bit more manageable is choose certain letters, or ask the learners or the class to choose random letters. And then before, during, and after listening, they write down things that they saw, felt, and are associated with the video using words that begin with these letters. After, they can share and compare in groups. And again, this is really great for generating discussion and comparisons. Okay, another table we can use is for revision of relative clauses. So learners can either create their own categories and compare the responses with their classmates to notice trends and then write about these after, or the teacher can create their own. So what I've got here is the place where you are happiest, the time when you are busiest, the person whose style you admire the most, and a movie which you can't stop thinking about. And again, what I've also done with this is once we have all this raw data, call it original research, and I get them to crunch the numbers and create statistics and talk about the habits and behaviors of people in our class. And they really like this as well. Okay, let's move on to another graphic organizer. This is a quadrant. Quadrants are really useful for categorizing words or ideas into different sections. So for instance, you could, whatever topic you're working on or whatever theme you're doing, you could have them think of nouns, adjectives, verbs, and adverbs related to that. You could also choose 4 rooms and think about furniture and items you would find in that room. You could also think about food, for instance, salty, sweet, sour, and bitter food. And another thing you could do is think about different categories in different stages in life, for instance, as a child, teen, adult, or senior citizen. And again, there's a lot of options for this. Okay. Another activity you can do with quadrants is very opinion-based and great for discussions. For example, today we can talk about food. Starting from the top right-hand corner, think of types of food that are healthy and delicious, moving clockwise, delicious and unhealthy, unhealthy and disgusting, or disgusting and healthy. Okay, I'll let you think about it for couple seconds here and then we can check some of my answers. And again, it's open-ended, so there's no real right or wrong, as it's all very opinion-based. Okay, so for me, healthy and delicious, I have nuts and cherries. Delicious and unhealthy, I have ice cream and chocolate. Unhealthy and disgusting, I have hamburgers and hot dogs. And disgusting and healthy, I have sardines and cantaloupe. And again, this is great for pronunciation, spelling, vocabulary, and just generating discussion. Okay, so some variations on this could be jobs. For instance, you could talk about a job that is easy but doesn't make a lot of money. Doesn't make a lot of money but difficult. Difficult and makes a lot of money. Or makes a lot of money and easy. You could also talk about sports or hobbies as well. So let's move on to a different type of graphic organizer. These are pyramids. This is where learners can share and revise vocabulary on a topic. Today we can talk about travel. So for instance, 1-syllable words about travel. And then moving up the pyramid, 2 syllables, 3 syllables, 4 syllables, and 5. Let you think about it for a couple seconds and come up with some answers. Okay, so some answers that I had. 1-syllable words, plane, fly, and bag. 2 syllables, visit, passport, and hotel. 3 syllables, adventure. 4, traditional. 5, package holiday. And again, there's so many possible topics you could cover with this, and it's great for introducing a topic, having learners share and revise vocabulary together. It's great for spelling, and it's great for doing some brainstorming and pre-writing tasks. Another pyramid is called the vocabamid, and this is where learners share and revise vocabulary on a topic based on the number of letters in a word. So I start at the bottom where there's hopefully going to be the most. 4-letter words, 5-letter words, 6-letter words, 7-letter words, 8-letter words. And again, the variations on this are endless. Another activity you can do is ranking or hierarchies. So you could have learners think of the most important 20th or 21st century idea or person. And again, this could be learner generated from an infinite infinite amount of choices, or you can give them a finite set of choices and they rank it. And again, what I like to do with this is I have, first of all, pairs work together. And again, this is really good for supporting introverts. Then I have the pairs move into groups and share and compare and negotiate. And then the whole class together must discuss and finally agree on the top 5 and why. This is really good for also practicing functional language for agreeing and disagreeing. And I really try to get them to support their reasons why. Okay, so that's my graphic organizers for today. I have a couple tips for classroom use. First of all, I'd really suggest keeping the organizer clear and simple. I think it's really important also to give clear instructions and clear task outcomes. For example, list 10 types of food. These can be used for organizing existing information or for categorizing and classifying new ideas. You can use them pre, during, or post-task, but use them strategically. Have a purpose in mind. Again, also with graphic organizers, you can use one type of organizer in different contexts and with different topics to develop familiarity with the format, with the style of that organizer. Or you can use different organizers with the same content to maximize learning and revise material. And this keeps it really interesting for your learners. And sometimes they'll see material in one organizer and won't understand it. But when they see it presented in a different organizer, it becomes much more clear. So this is where it's useful to do that. You can also use these for assessment. You can assess comprehension or the ability to understand relationships between information. I would say most importantly, encourage your learners to be creative and also provide time for them to share their ideas with their peers. Graphic organizers are great, as I said earlier, for helping to support discussion. And once they've already done all that work, it's great if they can share and talk about it with their friends. What I have here are some resources. So here are some interactive online sites for learning. And the learners can go on and they can add their own information, or you can use them and fill them in and use them in class. Here is some also further down on the bottom, some info and examples of how to use graphic organizers and a bit more information about what they exactly are. Also, for those of us who like to print out resources, here are some links to some printable templates. You can customize them, fill them in, do what you like, and then use them in your class. And again, you can also create your own on the bottom. Here are my references. And if you'd like to contact me, if you have any comments or questions, my website is auroraenglish.wixsite.com/English. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you found this interesting and informative.